You're listening to Game Freaks 365 Radio.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is Kyle with Game Freaks 365. We're going to have a reflections on 2020 video. I want to introduce everybody. Go ahead and say hi, everybody. Andrew.
Yo, how's it going?
Cliff.
How's it going, everybody?
Go ahead, Drew.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Recap of the week's top stories before we get into reflections of 2020. Let's start with Cyberpunk, because that is going to dominate the news, it seems. Sony and Microsoft both offered refunds this week. Sony actually delisted the game from PlayStation Store. What do you guys think?
I was kind of shocked that both Sony and Microsoft had already offered to be doing the refunds themselves. As for delisting, I'm glad that they did. I'm sure that's why they were so quick to do that, at least for the PlayStation. It's not delisted from Xbox yet.
No, it's got a disclaimer on the store page.
I mean, it's just going to be a matter of time, and they'll get things figured out, I think, for the most part. But I don't know. I'm pretty surprised to see this happen. At least the reaction from CD Projekt Red of everything so far that's led up to now has been very, very good. They've done a great job of handling all the problems they've had with the development, and then we get to launch date, and they try to basically act like they didn't realize that people would be upset that the PS4 and Xbox One versions were going to be broken. And I just kind of find that kind of really dropping the ball. And
I think that's the problem, though, right? Like, they knew the state it was in going into launch, and they just sort of hid it from everybody.
That's kind of what I'm saying as well. And it just kind of it's kind of unfortunate that they really dropped it there. And I don't know. I mean, it's, again, I think it will be fixed. I think they'll do a lot to make it at least a lot more playable and hopefully as good as people wanted it to be on the current gen consoles. But They were the ones that said it was going to come out on these consoles as well. It's not like it was supposed to be a PS5 or a Series X game. It was Xbox One and PS4 and PC. So this should have really been avoided. I will say I think that the lawsuits are a little ridiculous, though. They're trying to say they're going to file for basically not getting the product that it was advertising.
Yeah, I saw those news articles
that's a little
today.
ridiculous. So I don't agree
I
with that.
assume the same thing happened when No Man's Sky kind of
for sure.
released. It's always the same kind of thing when something like that happens to a release. There's always, it's like the initial kind of pushback and outrage and kind of discourse about it, and then as it starts to tail off, it's like now we're into the lawsuits and so you kind of started stringing it out further and further, and they end up kind of just falling away, and you don't really hear about it further down the line.
I think the kind of pushback from gamers has been a little more intense than we've seen before. Like when Fallout 76 launched, like that launch was terrible. And Bethesda knew that, and what did they do? I think they reduced the price of the game and then refunded that difference back to people who wanted to keep the game, and then they just promised to continually update the title and get it to the state it needed to be at.
Didn't they charge people for the features that they basically were always wanting from the start and talking about? Like, what was that big update they did for it? Where,
From what I recall, all the updates have been free.
No, there was one for 76 that was, at least when they announced it. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm sorry, I apologize. It was
Wait, even like Wastelanders and stuff, like the expansions?
That was a re-release. I think they re-released it, didn't they?
I mean, I could look it up.
Yeah, I apologize for bringing it up and not knowing.
No,
exactly
it's okay.
what
No,
that
Wastelanders.
game, though, I will say,
Wastelanders was free.
Okay.
Wastelanders is part of Fallout 76.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I got it confused with Wasteland for a second because I know that's.
Oh, okay.
related to Fallout as well.
Yeah. So you mentioned before we started recording, Cliff. You compared it to Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed Unity, and that might end up being a pretty accurate comparison, because I didn't actually play Unity when it launched. I guess it was a shit show.
It was rough.
Yeah.
Makes for pretty funny videos.
When I did
I'm not gonna lie.
end up playing it, when I did end up playing it about a year after launch, it was a pretty decent game.
Yeah, they got around to fixing it. It just took them some time that they should have had in all along. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that's the case with Cyberpunk.
I think it will be. I think, again, the problem with this one was that the handling of the situation was just, man, they really dropped the ball. I thought they were doing so well with, speaking to the community very well. They were clearly apologetic about everything. I think we now know why they were so apologetic, because they're like, oh shit, they're gonna really be upset about this in here a little bit. And and the unfortunate thing is, I think it's lame for them that they're in that situation in the first place. I mean, if the game wasn't ready on the consoles that they announced it for, either then come out and make a large delay that is going to move it to another generation, or just delay the game and make sure that it's at least better than what people were expecting to see, not something broken.
I think they were just hopeful that they could get it to work. And I know me and you talked about this last night, Cliff. I personally think they should have just canceled the PS4 and Xbox One versions.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel bad for the install base, but if they can't, they've had how many delays did that game have? Like a bunch.
And I was starting to laugh about it. Honestly, it was pretty funny.
I didn't even expect it to launch this year. When the November release date got delayed again. I was talking to a few friends. I was like, I'm not expecting it this year. It's going to get delayed again.
It was the fact that it went gold and then they delayed it, and I was like, that's kind of unheard of. Really, it doesn't usually get pushed back at that late stage.
Yeah, I think the big problem too is the misrepresentation that they had with all the videos and everything they showed. Clearly, it was from the PC version, and it wasn't in any state. They knew, right? They knew what kind of state it was in, and it should have just been released for PS5 and Series X and PC.
It's quite interesting to compare it to Halo and what they did, because I wonder if Halo would have, if they had pushed, if they had a similar kind of mentality, if they pushed for that to come out with the Series X and Series S, whether that be in a similar state. And
I'm glad they didn't.
What that kind of delay might do for Halo in comparison, in hindsight, when we look back, when that eventually comes out. How that's
I want to win for Halo too. I really do. I want them to knock it out of the park, and I think they made the right choice, because it was apparently looking pretty rough.
It got a decent amount of criticism.
Yeah, they were talking about something with the shaders or something like that, just not looking very good in the game, and it looked more last gen than next gen, which that's not Halo. I don't want that,
I think the big thing with the Halo Infinite reveal was that it still looked fun, though. I thought the gameplay looked super quick and super fun and responsive. And I'm excited for that game, despite, other assets not looking great.
It kind of looked like a throwback to the original Halo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Design even looked a little bit more like the original.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to ask is if any of you wonder, I wonder, I've not played The Witcher. I've just never quite got round to it, and everyone tells me it's amazing. So I'm going to play it at some point, probably when the PS5 patch comes out. But to me, CD Projekt Red kind of took off with Witcher 3, but prior to Witcher 3, there's not really been any kind of fan base really. There's been a fan base, but it's not as sizable as it was after Witcher 3. And I just wonder, that's such a huge fan base, and kind of the expectations that they built on top of just Witcher 3. Is it earned? It's quite. I don't know of any other company really, any other developers that have kind of built such a favorite kind of fan base in such a similar way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm one of the few people that I wasn't a huge fan of The Witcher 3. I thought the world was really great. I thought the characters were great and the story was great. I had a problem with the quest design and the amount of experience you got from a lot of the encounters. I thought it had some dated gameplay designs, but I had a lot to like about it. But even then, just kind of drew me back out of it.
I only played one major quest line part, the Bloody Barons quest. And it was, I will say this, it was fantastic. The story of it was just I mean, I will not go into any detail about it in case you ever played. It was just utterly fantastic, and I had no idea what I was in for. And I sat through basically the entire thing in an afternoon and just did that one part, and it was pretty amazing. But that being said, I didn't really have a lot of motivation to go back and play more of it. You know, I don't really like that theme so much myself. Like that kind of like fantasy like themes never really appealed to me as much. But you know, it was a great game. All of those things being said, personally, I didn't like that theme as much. It was very good otherwise, but yeah, a little slow. It's a little slower than I feel like Elder Scrolls is. So,
Well, it's a big game too.
Yeah,
gives you lots of time to kind of ease into the world instead of just throwing everything in your face right away.
Yeah, that's true.
So speaking of delays, EA Play is not coming to Xbox Game Pass for PC after all in 2020. It got pushed back to 2021. Microsoft says that they need more time to quote provide the proper Xbox Game Pass experience. You guys have any thoughts on this?
I haven't seen exactly why or like an official statement. From what I've read a couple things, and one said that they were just having trouble getting it to work in the PC Game Pass kind of format. I don't know if that's accurate though.
I would say, take the time that they need. Game Pass is clearly the thing that they're banking the most on right now with the Series X and integrating with PC very well. So they're going to have some hiccups. Take the time that they need. I think we're, to focus on this one with the other topics we're talking about, fix and finish the things before they're done and make sure that when people can play, they play the game that they're actually wanting to buy, play.
Yeah, like there's so much excitement for EA Play coming to Game Pass. Like you don't want to kind of have a negative slant on that in any way. Just I think nowadays people are far more receptive to delays for things to actually work properly when they launch. So yeah, just take the time, get it right, and that hype is going to just continue to just notch up a little bit further there, I guess, the excitement for it.
Real quick, while we're talking about
we're
delays,
wrong, like prove us wrong. Like somebody out there, delay your game, make it better, and prove us wrong. If we're wrong, then I'll never say it again.
while we're talking about delays on this too, I'm wondering kind of when big titles moving forward, when they get delayed, if people are going to be as angry about it anymore. Because I remember that was a lot of the reason that investors wanted to push out Cyberpunk. I hate to circle back to it again, but now that we're talking about Game Pass getting delayed or EA Play on Game Pass, I'm wondering if we're going to see that kind of pushback from consumers.
Yeah, I think if you look at like the kind of long-term financial kind of impact on the company, like there probably a lot of other companies that probably aren't as big as CD Projekt Red, will probably look at that and go, maybe we should just delay because the kind of chasing the short-term money, probably you might lose that upon it as well as your kind of long-term money as well. So
yeah, I'm sure they're taking a decent financial hit having to refund all these games as well.
Probably. Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of my thoughts on it. I agree with you guys that, they should delay it just to make sure that they get it right. When they added EA Play to Game Pass for Xbox One and Series X, it's actually added a lot of value to the service. I was not really all that excited for it when they announced it, but I've downloaded a few of the games and it's cool to have on there. It's a nice extra benefit of having Game Pass, and it doesn't cost people any more.
Yeah, Game Pass was already one of the best deals in gaming right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many games, and I just played through Sea of Solitude from EA Play. The game was excellent if you haven't done it yet.
I only have a PS4 currently, so I do not have access to Game Pass, but I've used it at other places and looked at the games. And actually, as a weekend, I was hanging out with a friend, and I got to download a couple games that I was one of them was Ukulele. It was on Game Pass, and I would have never wanted to buy it, but it was there.
Is it the first one or the second one?
First one. I really want to play the second one. I like that they did it side scroll. That's really
They just added it to Game Pass if you get a chance soon.
Oh, fantastic. See, that's even better. But Game Pass, at that time, I remember it was before they had kind of really pushed for it for the Series X. I think is like the main thing that they were really caring about. It was about a little over a year ago, And I at the time I was just like, wow, they're already kind of pushing past what Sony's doing. Kyle, we had talked about this, and I think we'd even done a conversation as well about this, where
I think we lost your audio, Cliff. What were you saying?
Basically, I was just saying that the Game Pass about a year ago when we were talking about it, Sony didn't have anything that was great or similar for the PlayStation, and they really still haven't responded to it well. And as it is now with the Series X, like I don't really even care, hardware wise, what the system does better than the PS5 because they're still kind of close to me. But it has Game Pass. And so if I were to buy one today, I would buy an Xbox, where I've loved the PS4 its entire life. And, I liked the PS3 near the end of its a lot. So I'm jumping ship again if I were to get a console today. And I think that's specifically because of Game Pass and the value that it has. I mean, we were talking about Halo earlier. I had not played Halo 5 yet. It was in my backlog of games. And it's not the best Halo, but the opening couple levels made me feel like an absolute badass. It was pretty cool to play for basically free, and that was a great afternoon. Just seeing what it was like, and then I downloaded something else and played it. So if you actually sit there and focus on the games that are available and beat them all before they get rid of them, there's so many there, and Sony has PlayStation Now, but it's just not as good.
I do want to buy a few months of that because I feel like, or I've heard that the service has gotten better.
It is getting better.
Because I know you can download stuff instead of just streaming it
Yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm. It is getting a little bit better.
I want to check it out before I even comment.
It's just historically been a little bit worse. That's all. And let's not even talk about PlayStation Plus compared to.
Well, I mean, they're different. PlayStation
They gave me
Plus.
Fall Guys this year, so I'm not gonna hate on it.
And Bug Snacks.
Yes, and I haven't got to play that, but that looks pretty interesting.
It's
weird.
wild. Yeah.
It's really weird.
Do any of you guys play Pokemon Go?
I did for a while, but I'm kind of over it at this point.
Over it? Okay. Well, if Cliff doesn't play it, then I know you guys probably don't play it. 'Cause
Well,
Cliff
I've
is
always
the
thought it's
Pokemon.
not even. I've always thought it's not even real Pokemon until the numbers. Just my opinion doesn't matter. They made too much money for my snobbery of it to matter. But it's not that bad of a phone game. There's worse phone games.
Okay. The only reason I mention it is because they have a holiday event going on that they're kicking off on December 22nd. But I guess none of us play it. So we'll move on to the next topic.
Pokemon look like Christmas trees or something. I mean,
It looks like Pikachu in an awful Christmas
sweater.
themed sweater.
All right. Okay. All right. That's not bad.
Yeah. But Fall Guys Season 3 kicked off this week. Also has a winter theme. Cliff, I know you have some thoughts on this.
It also has a sweater, by the way. It has a sweater, but it's not that ugly. It's pretty fantastic, actually.
Sweaters, but no snowballs.
The
Right?
sweater decal. No snowballs. How did they miss the snowballs? Though, really? Okay. This is vaguely referencing the article that I wrote about Fall Guys Season 3 and basically just the game in general. You guys, I'm going to start by saying I love this game. I have since it came out. Season 3 is fantastic so far. The games that they've added, they added more than they did with Season 2 right off the bat. They have a lot of cosmetics as well. But the games that they have added, I think, go a long way to kind of change the general gameplay loop enough that, at least based on how the other games played before, that A, they're making progress in how they're making the games, and B, it's still fun. They're still finding ways to keep it fun. And as I mentioned in my article, I think that there are just a lot of ways they could very easily continue to do that over time, pretty easily. And this season so far as a start has been a lot of fun. Some frustrating moments, but
It's one of the few multiplayer games you've played for this long.
that's true. It's also the first multiplayer game that I ever reached max level in a season. I'm almost max level already in Season 3. So it's been
I haven't played since like
Already?
3 weeks after launch.
I'm almost level 32 right now, so I have 8 levels to
Jeez,
go.
Liv.
Yeah, it's well, the double XP weekend.
I think we need an intervention.
Well, it's double XP weekend, and I really, really wanted to get. I was working on some trophies. I did get a trophy for a bunch of cosmetics, so I had to spend a bunch of money. So I had to make a bunch of money. So, Fall Guys, they gotta work hard for the money. All I can say.
It was weird. When I was reading your article, I actually had to stop and think, yeah, this is only being released on PS4 and PC. Like, what? It just seems like such a kind of game that's right for Switch and
it'll be a
Xbox.
no-brainer on other consoles. I think PlayStation
Yeah.
just has exclusivity on it though.
I think that they went for something with that, with making it a PlayStation Plus game as well when it launched. I kind of read something similar to that they kind of talked with Mediatonic and Devolver, but it's more than a no-brainer. I mean, it looks like a Nintendo game, kind of like a Nintendo and Pixar made a game that was a little weird. Fall Guys. I mean, it's they're a good example of Mediatonic made other games, but they clearly had no idea what they were in for. I remember playing it on night one. Like, we played for about an hour and a half, and then we couldn't because the servers were just no. Like, I remember just sitting there like, what the hell did I just play? This was so much fun. And to have those kinds of times still where, like, me and friends, Kyle, you've been there, Angel's been there. Drew, we need to play some more. But playing at 1 o'clock in the morning, running along this stupid course, and somebody grabs you and you fall off the course and you lose, and you want to squeal like a freaking kid. It gives you these ridiculously intense rushes of fun. And I haven't had anything like it since I played Rocket League the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like its trajectory is going to be Rocket League. Like it's just going to keep rising and rising. It's going to spread to other platforms, and then it's going to stick around after that.
I think the biggest reason that it's not on the Switch yet, by the way, I thought about this after I'd already kind of sent the article for publishing, but the portability of the Switch might actually be a kind of a big issue for online play and like stability purposes. But I mean, whatever, get over it. Let's
Maybe
figure
though,
it out,
like if the
make smaller
connection gets
playlists. We
weird.
could play with 30 people instead of 60 to start, and do 4 games or 3 games and 4 games. I don't care. Just
honestly, like with the connection issues it's had though, like if someone's network
it's gotten better,
has connection issues, then it just kicks the Switch player out, right? Like it's not going to crash the game for everybody. It's just going to remove them from the lobby.
Yeah, but that's frustrating. And actually, speaking of that, Fall Guys, when it very first started, that happened so much with so many players that they originally promised to reimburse people the experience and kudos that they'd lost. And I mean, I said right off the bat that was probably not going to happen. There's no way. But I definitely lost a lot from that happening just over and over and over again myself. So it has come a long way. It's doing a lot better. I don't usually get disconnected from games anymore.
Did you ever get reimbursed for your kudos?
Absolutely not. But do I care? Fall Guys has given me something far more important, and that is in 2020.
Oh, friendship.
I'm not gonna lie; it has made me laugh more than most things. It is a funny game. It's a riot to play with people. It would be perfect as couch multiplayer, but I don't need it. Like, it's still so much fun with party chat, and I don't know. It's almost childlike fun, and they've kept it up with season 3, and I hope they can keep it up with the mid-season updates. I would like to see them add more wintry stuff, as I mentioned in the article, to existing stages that are already there. It sounds insane, but Slime Climb with ice would be really fun.
I think the real event to look forward to for that will be Halloween.
Yeah, but in
all
a
the
year,
cool costumes.
A year. I mean,
well, it gives you something to look forward to.
Did they do anything for Halloween this past year?
They had the
was it
medieval
out? When did it come out?
August.
Okay.
August 4th. Yeah, Fall Guys though, and I was gonna say, it's not just Fall Guys. We're gonna, Kyle, you had kind of pointed out we're gonna talk about games this year and the pandemic, how it's affected games, and so another game that I think is really interesting is exploded this year. This very popular was Animal Crossing, and I find it almost it's so interesting, like even more interesting that Animal Crossing as a game is about going out and interacting with the villagers and people and going to their towns and doing what we can't do. And what a perfect game for this year. Like, and they made one of the best Animal Crossings that they've ever made this year. Like, great, good on them. I joked that I think Fall Guys was truly the game that we needed in 2020 because it's so ridiculous and so much fun. How can you not laugh at it and have fun with it if you just sit down and play, right? Like, in this crappy year, play Fall Guys for a minute. It's like having a beer. you know. But yeah, this year I think games have been affected differently. Some very well, some very badly. But overall, I think like unlike the movie industry, games have done fine. I think that in fact, like the push to make more digital sales versus physical might have been inadvertently helped by this whole thing. I bought one physical game this whole year, and I usually would buy them exclusively. So, you know, I think it's gone a long way to push the gaming industry where it would want to go, despite being 2020 being kind of a
I do want to point out
crapshoot.
for Animal Crossing, I think the capabilities of that game are really cool. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but Gary Whitta does like celebrity interviews in Animal Crossing, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a huge celebrity interaction with the game just so you know, when it first came out, and like who was it? Was it the Rock had a island and had people coming to his island, and I mean all kinds of people did, and that's cool. That's really, really cool that people actually got on and did that, and it just I think brought a little bit more brightness to the year, and you know, uniquely for games, and you know, more specifically that game, the way that it did is cool.
Andrew, have you played Fall Guys at all?
Yeah, I played when it first released. I haven't played it as much just in the last sort of 4 or 5 months, though.
Yeah.
I guess it's been it's just one of those that I just kind of fell away from. Probably, I guess Tony Hawk came out not too long after, I think, and I just got stuck into that, and then
Don't
something
even get
else.
Cliff started.
Hades.
He'll go on that.
It finally crossed 10 million. I mean, finally.
It was really good. Yeah, I saw you post on Twitter about that.
Tony Hawk's the best remake I've ever played. I'm just gonna
It's
say that
really
right now.
good.
Yeah, it's super.
Like as I play it more, I just like the other day I was like, God, this is a freaking great game. You know, I've played it for 70 hours now. Like, I don't like that it tells me that. They didn't used to tell you that. So you haven't played a lot of Fall Guys yourself? I would highly recommend, man. If you can re-download it and jump into a couple games of Season 3, it's a little wild. It might be a little jarring at first because especially the first few rounds of Season 3's playlist are, Kyle, you know, it's a bit of a gauntlet, but it's good. It's very good. And, I think that they show you right off the bat what you're in for.
It's one of those games I think over the holidays I was planning to revisit, just like once I get the kind of time to just just settle down and chill out and just like jump into that, like you said. If it's like having a beer, then that's good. I like it.
I think it's really mindless. Like it's the anti-battle royale. I saw another article that pointed that out, and it's weird. I think that's the reason why I like Fall Guys so much as a battle royale, because I don't like battle royales that much in a lot of ways.
Oh please, you love Apex.
I do, but it's really just because I love Apex, but it's because I don't love myself because it's so hard. You know, I don't know. It's one of those masochistic things for me. I'm terrible at it. Drew, you were not playing the game, right? I dropped into the lava. I missed. I just straight in. It's hilarious. It was great.
You can jump.
I was already talking shit as I was on my way in, and I just right off the map.
You can jump into Warzone with me.
I'm not good at most games, guys. That's the thing I'm learning. Especially as I'm getting older. Tony Hawk is teaching me that. I just got into the teen millions, and I used to be able to do that with my eyes closed. So, 30s are rough.
How much different from the original game is it?
I mean, it's better in every conceivable damn way you could think of, first of all. But the levels are really, really facelifted a lot. It's kind of hard to even give a good example of like Resident Evil 2 and 3, maybe for how much they've changed the graphics from the original.
But gameplay-wise, is it pretty much the same?
Mostly. I have one bone to pick, and it's a very, very, very frustrating bone.
This is about the
gap recognition in the original Tony Hawk games. When you do a gap, for example, you grind a rail and you get the gap from grinding a big long rail, right? It was just a little bit smoother and easier. The developers had it right. The people that have made this version, however, it is a lot more precise. It needs to be a lot more precise and sensitive, and it gets a little frustrating when you're trying very hard to do some tricks that are tough, because it did not used to be that difficult, and not because I was younger and a kid. Everything else about that game is pretty much, amazing. Like, the only thing about it that I want is more. I want Tony Hawk 3 really bad. That was my favorite. I want them to remake that now. That's it. That's my
Sounds
only
like
complaint.
someone's dog wants Tony Hawk 3 too.
Smart dog.
Why I've been muting occasionally.
Smart dog.
So let's go ahead and jump into Andrew's Spider-Man review. Andrew, you want to share your thoughts on the game with us?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to prompting a little bit of discussion here, but
I'll jump in later.
I thought that was probably the launch game that I enjoyed the most, I think, so far. I don't know if it's just the timing of it. November felt like it felt like a year of its own in a way, with like everything that was going on in November, and then obviously it releases with the consoles, and with everything that was going on, it felt like a game where it was just asking you to kind of see the best in people and like the kind of characters and the narrative in that kind of way. Kind of it brought a bit more kind of you just like optimism, I guess. And then when you kind of combine that with the familiarity of like the mechanics and the combat, it was like you were kind of getting reacquainted with an old friend in a way. So I don't know, it felt like it was giving you something that you knew, putting like a kind of like iterating on top of the combat with some of the new kind of moves that Miles can use to add a couple more layers to the combat, and then still managing to spin like a really kind of interesting narrative, but quite congested. Like it was in quite a concise manner, and it just it felt like I guess it was kind of marketed as like, or eventually it was marketed as the equivalent of like Lost Legacy, the Uncharted Lost Legacy game. And that kind of felt like it felt like it was kind of just the right kind of size for the story that they wanted to tell. Like it was maybe too much to be a DLC for the original one, but they obviously didn't have enough time or scope to make it like it's a full game kind of thing. And I guess I assume what maybe happened was that was going to be a DLC for the original game, and then PS5 development's kind of spinning out, and they're kind of saying, well, why don't we look at that, take it to PS5 and make it its own kind of title. And I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
They were also saying, oh dear God, we need something more than Demon Souls, please help us.
You can't really have the mass market appeal with just Demon Souls.
Those are probably the two
like,
launch games to have though, right? Like Demon Souls and Miles Morales.
Yeah, it felt like there was just a really good spread on the PlayStation when it launched. Like I don't really recall like a launch kind of lineup that has kind of catered to so many different things, and that's including third party obviously, but so many different kind of genres and tastes. I don't know, I can't think off the top of my head. Someone might be able to come up with one that's kind of challenges that, but
there's not a lot of console launches that had that much variety that come to mind. But I will say this, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I felt very negatively about the PS5's launch lineup. But then when I looked at actually, when you include the third parties, when you include the games that aren't exclusive, when you include the games that are ports from other consoles that were great games then on PS5, I mean, there's a lot there, a lot. And
yeah, I mean, we got Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition shortly after launch. We had the Pathless Sackboy is really fun with friends. Bug Snacks is weird and goofy. Miles Morales and Demon Souls. It was a good launch.
We got like Astrobot on the console as well, which is just mad.
Real quick, I want to circle back to Andrew's Spider-Man review real quick. And we talked a little bit about this going into this video. I liked it, but I couldn't help but feel a little bit disappointed in it. Like the story was great and it looked really pretty, especially even running like the performance ray tracing mode. I got ray tracing 1080p 60 FPS, like it looked beautiful. But it was $50. Like even if you platinum that game, I platinumed it in about 16 or 17. Like even platinuming that game, $50 is crazy for what you got. Like, well, the Atlantis DLC on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's like a 30-hour DLC. Like the Witcher 3's DLC, 30 to 50 hours. Like crazy amount of content's there for half the price. Like,
So you don't think it was as good of a value?
No, not at all. It was really good, and
that
but
combat's so good. It's really, really good.
yeah, no, it's great.
I'm not
and even and when
I
so I
apologize.
ended up buying the what was it, the Ultimate Edition that came with Spider-Man Remastered. It's better value there because you're only paying $20 for another PS5 game. I don't know. I was disappointed by the amount of content, and there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff. Like, it was super fluid, and the Venom attacks were great, but like, I don't know.
Maybe this is
I
like.
can.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. Sorry.
No, I can totally see that side of it. Like, it's one of those kind of things where if you're looking for more value, there's more value to be found kind of elsewhere. Unless you are, like, if you're not a Spider-Man fan, or if you've like not played the original and you're not that desperate to get into either game, there's definitely more value to be found with other titles.
I absolutely love the original title, Platinum that, like, put
Same here.
Yeah,
put like
totally.
90 hours in, like,
One of the
across
few that I've
all the
platinumed, yeah.
DLCs. Game was excellent. But again, we just got more of the same stuff. We got a new story. Only
Really cool Spider-Verse costume.
Yeah, we only had a
That is
couple new
pretty sick.
types of crimes. Like, I don't know. I can't help but feel a little disappointed by it.
Were you a big fan of Into the Spider-Verse?
I was, yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Period.
it was great.
It's the best Marvel movie I've ever seen.
Spider-Man in general is just my favorite superhero.
And I it's weird because I think Tom Holland is also the best Spider-Man, but Miles Morales is the best Spider-Man. So it's like they're pointing at each other. I don't know. It's great. Yeah.
Andrew, do you have thoughts on the recasting of Peter Parker?
It was like, at first when I saw it, I was about, it's a bit weird. Like, do we really need to do this? But then obviously, I guess the kind of game director said that it was for, like, was it something to do with like the updated graphics? It was like
I thought it was they wanted to get it to match closer, his facial appearance to match closer to the voice or something
voice.
like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it needed to be done, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really bother me that much. Like, worse changes have probably been made to different games. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about yourself? Did you?
It was fine. I mean, it was weird jumping from, one Spider-Man to just a random new actor. And obviously, it's very apparent he looks closer to Tom Holland than the previous guy.
Yeah, that was the kind of immediate reaction I had as well. Like, when it first kind of appeared on Twitter, I was like, what? And then, I kind of left my PC or left my phone or something, and like 5 minutes later, I was like, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It's the same voice, which kind of was what made the character, I think, more than anything else. So
That's a good point. That is a really good point. Oh, I was going to point out two games that came out, very pandemic kind of specific, I think, in how they either came out or how they had success. Mario Kart Live Circuit. Thought that was a really cool idea. Like, especially this like time where all these kids are stuck inside, and I mean, great for kids. Terrorize the hell out of their cats. Absolutely love it. Everybody wins. The cats lose. Mario Kart. It's great. And then I have a group of people that my new friends from New Zealand, I guess is the best way to put it. They played Jackbox. They've never played this before. Really fun game to play in this whole like pandemic situation. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing at home and socially distant, but I'd never played it before. And it's kind of like you don't know Jack or things like that. I don't know if you guys ever played it before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't know. I had not heard much about it until recently, so I really missed out on something here. Jackbox is also a riot. And then I guess kind of just like last little note and aside, Among Us. Didn't Among Us come out like a while back? And it just
I think it was
nobody
2018.
cared? Yeah, nobody cared. And then what?
Yeah.
My daughter knows more about it than I do, and she's 7. I mean, it's like a big thing with kids. Like, it's, huge success, but 2 years late. That's really weird and different. I don't know. Another weird thing from this year, I guess, that I think is kind of specific and unique to games.
And then now it's going to be on the Switch, and it's like, that's going to be another catalyst to kind of find a broader audience, and it's already huge.
Yeah, it just got added to Game Pass on PC, and it's coming to Xbox
nice.
Game Pass as well. So,
Ooh, nice. That's cool. I have it on my my Chromebook that I'm currently using right now for this, and it is not ideal if you don't have a mouse. Can you use a mouse normally in this game?
I don't know. I haven't played it.
Maybe it just has
I
bad
haven't actually played it
controls.
either.
Among Us is not easy to control. I've died within like a minute every time I played, so whatever.
So what we've learned is Cliff is not good at games.
I'm not good at games, but I will beat you in Tony Hawk, Fall Guys, Mario Kart, and that's it.
Because you're old now, right?
Huh?
Because you're old now. Is that why?
Well, young me would beat me really, really easily in Tony Hawk. But yes, I'm getting old now. Yeah, pretty bad.
You were decent in COD, from what I remember.
I was better in Halo. Drew was also better in all of these things.
I just play a lot.
You do. Me and Drew also have another mutual friend that I don't like playing against him in Smash Brothers. He's one of the best people I've ever played against in my life. But when you play against him, you don't realize what you're about to do to your body hurts, because it hurts your soul, it hurts your hands, and it's just not fun.
You could play your absolute best game of Smash Brothers and
want.
not come anywhere close.
It's like Shaq holding your face, and you just like you just can't. And it's funny because I've played him before, and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Excuse me." And he's like, "It just just basically goes Super Saiyan and kills me." But he goes to competitions and gets absolutely waxed. I don't understand how it happens.
I don't know either.
Whatever. Professional gamers.
Speaking of Smash Bros, Sephiroth? What?
Sephiroth.
Yeah, that's
and
wild.
all the other characters, the little Mii costumes. What a way to get Gino in there, Nintendo.
Yeah.
About damn time. I was happy to see that. That was cool.
Are you also playing Smash?
I love Smash Brothers.
No.
Nintendo Online sucks. I won't do it.
Yeah, I have to play in person. I am too picky about it. If Smash doesn't work right, or I don't have the right controller, I would rather not play. I'll watch.
Let's move on to surprise hits of 2020.
13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. The game was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite games of the year. Probably in like my top 3. Easily one of the best narratives I've ever had in a video game. It's this weird combination of like visual novel and like tower defense, but it's incredible, and everyone should play that game.
That sounds really interesting.
I lent it to a buddy, and he absolutely hated it. But he also he didn't get far enough to understand. Like, you don't know.
Oh, that whole discussion. Okay, so I got to watch a whole season of your game to get it.
We talked. I'm not getting into this again with you today, Cliff.
I was going to point out. I don't know if this is actually a huge surprise for everyone. And I had not yet to play it myself, but I know I'm going to think it's the greatest thing ever. Hades.
Yeah.
No idea this game was going to be a thing. Apparently, as I've heard from several friends, it's better than my current favorite indie game, Dead Cells. I think it's a perfect action game. But he says Hades makes Dead Cells kind of just look silly.
I really want to play it too.
It's phenomenal. It's really, really good.
Drew, I know it's a lot more like Devil May Cry, whereas other games are not so much combat based. I guess like Dead Cells is a little bit more platforming based. I heard that Hades is more combat based and fast paced, and that just sounds right up my alley. Let's hurt myself more and hurt my hands more trying to play a game that's really hard. It's gonna be super fun. Can't wait.
I need to shout out Supergiant. Like, they are just a super talented team of devs, like Bastion and Transistor.
Beautiful games.
Yeah, just absolutely outstanding art design.
And good little ideas, like when Bastion came out, having the narration as you played, that was just really cool. I thought that was a really novel idea that nothing else really did anything like that.
I was reading something that one of the devs said, and they were like, they have no idea what their next game is going to be. Like, they don't know until they just sort of figure it out. And that's really cool. Like, until something comes to them, they don't have any plans. I like that.
Good. They're not trying to work towards some like beating a dead horse that isn't really going anywhere then.
Yeah. Super creative team.
Feels like a lot more organic, their development.
Yeah.
I think just going back to what Cliff said about the narration, the way that the narrator works in Hades is quite clever. It's quite entertaining. It's not as like you can choose to interact with it, and when you do, like, it's like the character interacts with the narrator as well. It's pretty funny. a lot of the dialogue's just really witty, but there's a lot of like there's like barely no repetition in it at all. So each new run, all the characters are kind of move on to like different dialogue, and it's just incredible. Like, yeah, play it. It's like
Before-
my surprise of the year, and like, it's amazing.
Before this console generation, especially, but like the last two, if you would have told me that my favorite games someday were going to be something called roguelikes that are just by design hard, random, and chaotic, like I would have said, get the hell out of town. But like these games are just, they're a blast. Like when they're made well, like Dead Cells. Again, I haven't played Hades myself, but everything that has been described to me sounds like they just, yep, they have a real racket going here with this game in every way. It's deep. You know, your ability to change things about how you're doing combat is. A friend was telling me, for example, he had a power where he just charges into people and it causes a ton of damage. And that buffs itself as he goes along. He basically just tackled through the final boss in one move. Boom, right through him. I mean, that sounds like it's kind of silly, but like when I beat Dead Cells the first time, I inadvertently picked up the lightning bolt thing and was Emperor Palpatining my way through the entire game and melting people. And it kind of took away from the difficulty, but by that point, I didn't want it to be difficult. I wanted to Palpatine.
Yeah.
So cool that Hades is the same way. I like that, and that's kind of the fun of playing, right?
Yeah, as you like progress through the game and go through different levels, you basically choose what upgrade you're gonna get if you clear a room. So like with each kind of upgrade, it will tell you which one obviously that you kind of are choosing. So it could be like a boon from a god to help you in this run, or you could be looking at like a kind of currency that you can then redeem when you die and come back through hell again, and you kind of then improve your stats or improve or unlock various different things to kind of help long term as well. So there's that kind of choice and variation there. And then also with the boons, if you pick like several boons from the same two gods, eventually you'll probably find one where you kind of you have to choose between the two on the one room. And then whichever one you choose, the other god's going to be angry that you chose the other god. They'll then attack you in some kind of way on like a timer kind of setup kind of thing. And then you basically, if you beat that timer, then you then get the boon from that god as well. And that's often when they combine them. It's insane.
That's so perfectly Greek mythology too. I mean, I love that. That's the thing about Immortals I like as well. I know that it's getting a little bit of mixed reviews, but like the sense of humor in that game is just
so charming.
Oh my! Like
it's
when
so charming.
I don't want to spoil it, but when I saw what Ares really was, I just freaking laughed out loud for a second. Like, and the setup of that whole the game is funny. Like I needed that laugh. That's another one this year that I just did not expect at all. Like Immortals is a very, very funny game, and it's weird that Hades and Immortals both are like kind of surprisingly great Greek mythology games, because those gods were nuts. I love that in Immortals, by the way, I was playing earlier, and they make a joke about babies, and Zeus pipes up and says something that vaguely references eating babies, because that's what Zeus did as a Greek god. And I just was like, this game is awesome. It's really, really funny.
It's nuts to me that like Immortals came out and was what, £55 in the UK, and as of now it's down to 30 already. Like it's already had a serious discount, and I'm like, what? Like
it's getting that here too.
It's been really well thought of. I thought, like, I know it's got like some mixed reviews, but generally people that were playing it, like actual like kind of players, seem to think it was pretty good. I thought
the controls really don't want you to play it. The game does not want you to have fun playing it. It's fun when you wrangle the controls somehow, but it's fun.
So we were talking about like gaming during the pandemic a little bit ago. I think it's been a great year for getting through games, like through some of your backlog, right? Like a lot of people have extra time. Like I've played some games that I probably wouldn't have played. Like I'm probably about a quarter of the way done with Call of the Sea. That game's incredible. I played through Cliff. This might be for you. I played through Scourgebringer. It's another roguelike.
Scourgebringer. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's very fast. It's very difficult. Played through Katana Zero and The Messenger this year. Finally 100%ed Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well, even though that one game's like 2 years old. But it's been a good year to get through titles that we might not have gotten through otherwise. So I'm
Also
happy
been a
about
good
that.
year for multiplayer.
It has been a very good year for multiplayer.
I already have like 3 days of playtime clocked on Cold War. I don't even like that game.
I can literally just imagine and see. We played some Modern Warfare last year. Did you like it better or worse than Modern Warfare when it came out? I think Modern Warfare was pretty brilliant when it came out.
Yeah, I'm still playing Cold War because I rage uninstalled it one night, and then one of my friends is like, "You gotta install this back." So I was like, "I'll put multiplayer back on here."
I've perma rage uninstalled Rocket League, by the way.
Like I actually, that was another thing from this week was the Call of Duty unification. It's really great. Like we can. I was playing with some friends last night. We were in Black Ops. I hit like a new prestige, and then we jumped right over to the Warzone, and my level just picked up right there where I left off. Like that's super cool.
That is really cool. I thought it was really, really strange that they went with that decision with Cold War, but I'm really glad that they did. I think it is obviously strong for Call of Duty creatively. I think to have two developers, making different games, but this whole, we've got to have two separate parties with, each. I just think that's kind of silly. Like obviously, zombies would have been great in a Modern Warfare game all along, So I kind of wish they'd done it a long time ago.
I agree. I definitely think that Modern Warfare is the better game. Like it looks better.
It really does.
It runs better. I'm having more fun with Cold War now that I'm not taking it as seriously as I did like Warzone and stuff like that. It's nice. Cold War, I can jump back and forth.
Does Cold War feel like it's unfinished or
no?
rushed?
It's more arcadey.
Okay.
I mean, it's more arcadey, number one, but I don't know because they only had 2 years of dev time on this one. So I'm wondering if maybe the multiplayer suffered a little bit, but I don't think the multiplayer looks nearly as good as Modern Warfare did. Especially now that the unification is done, using the guns in Cold War and then switching over to Warzone and finding those guns on the ground, like they look so much better in Warzone. Like in that new engine, it's gorgeous, and then it's just jarring going back and forth.
Yeah, anyone I've kind of spoken to that I've been playing Black Ops Cold War online with, they've all kind of they just throughout any kind of game they've generally expressed frustration with it compared to Modern Warfare, and even Warzone as well. Despite still continuing to come back to Cold War.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same boat I'm in. Like, I play Cold War every night, and I'm like, why am I still here?
Call of Duty fans. People want to talk about Madden fans and stuff. Call of Duty fans, look at them.
Yeah.
No, it's good though. In Call of Duty, I mean, like I was kind of mentioning about Modern Warfare. Cold War does not look as good, but it looks like it's fun. I've heard that it plays more like the Black Ops series did, and Black Ops 2 was actually my favorite. So. I thought it was the most Halo-like of the Call of Duties, actually. That makes any sense. But this one, it looked fun. I like that there's the weapons from both games. Can't really go wrong if you have all the options. But it also didn't really go well with the theme. They have the 80s Reagan Cold War era theme, and then have the XM4 or whatever the hell it was from. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the gun exactly, but it was a ridiculous assault rifle.
I am happy to have the Treyarch kind of map design back, because that was one of my biggest complaints with Modern Warfare was the maps were very campy, and they were often very big.
They were too big, and then they were too small.
And then when they added Shoot House and Shipment in, they
ruined the game with Shipment. They ruined it in the most
fun
way possible.
Oh, okay.
It was fun for it was fun for a week, and then when you didn't get 90 kills every game, it was like, what's this game?
I got 90 kills every game.
Huh?
Nothing.
I know, Drew. You do. It's true.
You're probably killing me.
I'll still beat you in time.
You'll crush me. I'm awful.
There's a game we've not talked about at all, and I am not going to do it any disrespect any longer by not mentioning it. I'm sorry. And actually, I think both of you reviewed it. Final Fantasy VII. Okay, so we're doing an end of the year wrap up here. Got to talk about it, because if I were to do a top 10 list of my favorite games of the year, I would have to put it at the very bottom of the list, but it has to be on there. Reason why.
Does it though?
Yes, it does. It
Does it,
absolutely
though?
does. Yes, it does. Because I am giving them more benefit of the doubt than I have since they ever have thought about making this game. Like all the years they were like, we're going to remake 7. Yeah, whatever. I didn't give them any benefit of the doubt then. Now I'm going to, because I do think that they could make the next one potentially fantastic in a lot of ways. It could be a lot better. There are a lot of things in 7 Remake that I thought, like the way that the material worked, they did great for,
Real quick,
for
I'll be
everything
right
they
back,
could have.
guys.
You know, I thought they did really well with the characters they added to the game. The world looked great. It felt like 7. It really did. The best they thought they could. And also it catered to both new and old people. I mean, they did more with 7 Remake than I expected them to when it came out. I was naysaying the hell out of it. It didn't necessarily completely impress me and blow me away, obviously, but like, I definitely believe in it now, and I didn't before. And if they don't do it right with the 2nd Remake and make it much better, I give up. We'll see. But you know, I hope they open it up a little bit. I was obviously really limited how much you could move around in the 7 Remake, but I didn't even care that much because, you know, exploring those areas and seeing it all really up close was nice anyway. So the one thing I will say though, I am not looking forward to whatever the Gold Saucer music sounds like in the remake. Whenever that is just already a nightmare in my head.
Yeah, that was another conversation me and Cliff had last night. Like, I feel me and you absolutely agreed on every Final Fantasy VII remake point.
Every point, but
Still, I would never put it
in
in my top 10 of the year.
I
like,
would,
ever.
I would out of principle because because I think I was to a degree wrong. I never even thought the game would happen. I used to say, I'll believe it when I see it on a shelf that they'll ever even make a 7 remake. And same with Kingdom Hearts 3, and lo and behold, we have both. So Half-Life, where are you at? But anyway, you know, like, yeah, they did better with the 7 remake than I actually thought they would back when I would naysay it. I'd be like, yeah, it'll come out and everybody will hate it because it's not going to be perfect, you know, and it wasn't perfect, but it was good, not perfect. I was okay with it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you there. Like, I never had like the appetite for it to be remade, even though I love Final Fantasy VII.
Not even my favorite on the PlayStation. 9 was, but
no, but it just,
It's because 9's the best one.
it was a lot better than I
6.
expected it to be. A lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of assume. I think maybe if they'd left it with CyberConnect 2, maybe it would have possibly. I think that's why it ended up being brought back in house, and that, which, I mean, seems like an odd decision to make in the first place.
It
But
was
let's not go
probably
down
the
that
right
rabbit
decision,
hole. Yeah, no, totally. It was the right decision to bring it back, but I think to have put it out, to like outsourced it in the first place, I don't know. It seemed like a bit of an odd decision to do that with like.
Did CyberConnect 2 do Kakarot this year? Was that CyberConnect 2?
Possibly.
that was an interesting game. I played it a little bit. I'm not a Dragon Ball Z fan hugely by any means, but
they did do Kakarot.
Game for
Yeah,
Dragon
it
Ball
was
Z fans.
one of the best Dragon Ball Z games, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
It was good.
Definitely. But yeah, Drew, I agree with you. I'm not putting 7 remake. You know, I'm not. I agree with the score being something like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10.
I think I gave it a 7.
Functionally, the game has some issues. It really pissed me off in certain issues or in certain areas because of not being the easiest to play. Then again, I'm still trying to play through Immortals, and like I said earlier, Immortals just does not want me to like it. But I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna like it. So far I'm doing all right.
Honestly, there's a great foundation in 7 remake. And I'm really hopeful for the kind of more open world segments. But I mean, I don't think it needed to be a 35-hour opening, to be honest. Like,
no, I agree with you there. And I think that, I mean, to be honest, like that, it was always kind of like audacious that they were doing that in the first place, because Midgar is a cool section in the game, definitely. But for 40 hours, hell no. I mean, no thanks. I literally feel like I was trapped there under the freaking, you know, no, I don't want to do that.
It probably, I guess you can kind of compare it to Spider-Man in a sense there, and Miles Morales, in the sense that they obviously went in the opposite direction and kind of over-padded it for what you were paying for it, because they were, I assume they were that desperate to kind of milk it for the $50, $60 price point.
that didn't even click with me until you just said that. Like,
Well, they should have made.
here I
they
am
should have made
complaining
it
about
easier.
Spider-Man being too short.
No,
and
but it's-
complaining
it's
about
like-
7 remake being too
They should
long.
have made it easier.
It's totally
better to
valid,
grind
though. It's
levels
totally
in
valid.
7. Like in 7's remake, it like they had all this open space you just ran through and didn't do anything. Like, well, okay, why couldn't we grind our levels or fight things more often? You know, like the encounter rates were weird and the points were just
Side quests sucked. Like,
yeah. The side quests, like if I
Yeah,
have
they're
to
a
fight
bit
cats
bland.
ever again, I'm done. Like done. I'll do the squats all day. Just don't make me do the cats.
like super impressed with anyone that platinum that game too. Because what, you can't use
Oh.
any items or something on hard mode.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
never gonna do that.
Like what I hate when they make those trophies. Like big F you to the person who's like, hey guys, wait, for them to get the platinum in our game, let's do this. Drew played like Dante must die and kill himself mode in Devil May Cry 2, so he's used to games being a ridiculous challenge. And I 7 on hard mode, I watched my roommate actually is a huge fan. He's a gigantic fan of the Final Fantasy series, and he wanted to try to beat it on hard, and he did not get out of the reactor. So pretty rough. I didn't even know you could get your ass kicked that hard that fast. But yeah, they have a lot of room to make that better, and so I wanted to mention 7, the remake, because at the start of the year I was actually wanting it to fail more or less, and I thought it was better than what I would have given it credit for. So.
We were talking about surprises. Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, I definitely
Like,
didn't play it, but
I really want to play it. I don't have a PC VR, so I can't. But like, from what I'm hearing, like that's the VR game, like the definitive
that's what I've
VR
heard
game.
too. It's like the most robust VR controls
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Leave it to Valve, right?
Of course, and leave it to Valve to still not do Half-Life 3 and make something amazing. For that.
Hey, you got Back for Blood.
You
now
do you,
coming.
Valve. That's fine. That's totally great. In fact, at this point, I kind of like it. Keep it up. No Half-Life 3, just Alyx 2.
At least you got your Left 4 Dead spiritual successor.
Oh
coming.
yeah, that
Yeah.
I saw that. That also kind of was exciting to
Yeah,
see.
we'll talk about that maybe a little later because I just got through playing the alpha for that.
Oh, I know. Oh man, I bet you nerded out to that a little bit. I know
I
you love
did.
the zombie stuff.
It was really good.